We are in week 11, and here we are. We're moving on. You guys are doing great. I want to apologize again about the slow grading for the exam. Part of the problem is, well, there's two problems. One, I realized that, I don't know why I haven't switched this up a little bit, because every semester, and I seem to forget until I start grading, that I think the way I'm posing the question is or the issues about the transition from Judaism, from Israel to Judaism and the differences, confuse a lot of you. That's just where it's obvious to me that this was a challenge for a lot of you, getting the points that I was wanting you to see, and so I kind of feel like that's on me. There were some of you who didn't get full points, but I think I was pretty fair on the way I graded this overall. Okay, so most of you wrote the exam the way I wanted to, and then a lot of you were just, again, really confused about the Israel to Judaism part, and I had to write to almost everybody something. That slowed me down. The other thing is I'm having a problem with Canvas, and I've tried to contact them about this, and I'm going to have to pursue this some more. It basically wasn't letting me grade, and then it would let me grade. And then when I'd call Canvas, and then it would be working fine, and nothing was there, and then all of a sudden it's like a bad comedy. We're just like, okay, so somebody trying to play a trick on me, because when I call up and talk to people to help me fix it, it's already fixed, and then afterwards I can't, and I was like, oh! So that did not help me yesterday at all. So I think I have 12 more exams left to grade, and I'm going to try to get to those as much as possible today, but I have some other stuff I have to do. We all know this stuff. So anyhow, there's that. So again, I just want to clarify, since I did write this to some of you, but we studied ancient Israel from the historical point of view, from the archaeological point of view, and then we addressed the biblical point of view, right? The story that's in the Bible itself, the narrative that Jews have about themselves, and then the kind of conflict between what secular archaeologists see and the stories themselves. But ultimately, what we can all agree on is that ancient Israel had a temple with priests, a temple in Jerusalem where they sacrificed animals to Yahweh, and then by the time of Jesus, we saw that there were different sects of Judaism, different branches. The temple was still there functioning. The Pharisees were a group that are going to be basically the rabbis, but there was still the temple that all Jews could go to. And then in 70 CE, the temple was destroyed, and the only group out of those different Jewish groups that are going to be left standing that are really a strong presence still are going to be the Pharisees, which are going to represent Rabbinic Judaism, and the Talmud is going to be central to Jewish spiritual life, which are the writings of the debates of rabbis. And there's layers to that. So if you studied it, there's the Mishnah, Gemara, and then the commentaries, which make the Talmud. That's all a little bit complicated, right? So that's kind of what I was just trying to address. That modern day Judaism it has a spiritual inheritance from ancient Israel, but we shouldn't necessarily associate it with the same kind of worship of ancient Israel. And then there were groups that questioned the rabbis. The Karaites are one. They still exist in small numbers, which and I said they were Protestant Jews, meaning that they functioned like Protestants in the Protestant Reformation and Christianity, but they never went by that term. Okay, so if there's any more questions on that, let me know. There's a lot of things I could expand on, but I think we just need to move on from that. Again, if you have any questions on Judaism and ancient Israel, again, please hit me up. Then what I want to talk about today is you might notice that we have a lot more lectures to cover and a lot of information. I really am doing almost 3 lectures in one. Celtic peoples, Germanic peoples, mainly Vikings that I'm focusing on, and then Christianity, and within Christianity, the breakup of the Western Church and the Eastern Church. That's a lot of stuff you're taking in, and I even go over how the Bible was formed, the canonization process of the Christian Bible. I think all this information you'll love. It's just going to be almost too much information, but I decided I wanted to fit this in. I've expanded on this section from previous times I've taught this class. I just feel like it's important. Because again, this class, I'm not making you memorize everything. I want to expose you to things. So you just need to take a little extra time to go over the lectures and some of the, the podcasts and the documentary stuff that I have dealing with this section, okay? It's very important and it's very good, okay? And I think you'll enjoy it. I have a newly created section for Vikings. It's actually a part of my Western Civilization class that I've incorporated into this one. So that's what some of the things that I say might seem a little bit off because it's really geared towards my Western Civ class, but again, I'm incorporating it into this class. And so I hope you will actually just enjoy that. I think it's going to be great. I think that what I talk about with the Vikings and my lecture on the evolution of the creation of the Bible canon are going to be things that you're not going to get almost anywhere else exposed to in terms of other classes you take. I could be wrong on this, but I've had many classes in my whole entire life, and these are things that I had to grab outside of those classes. And so yeah, please take advantage of that. And this will be a great segue into Islam too, with this whole entire section. Now, having said that, I just want to briefly say something. There has been an increase in white nationalists and white supremacist groups are coming out, and their numbers are growing in the United States. This is a reality we have to deal with. And I don't want to be biased or push any particular form of politics. I'm an independent who just kind of usually hates all the candidates fairly and equally, but it's a whole other topic. But it's a fact that almost all white supremacist groups have endorsed Trump. And the Trump presidency, I would not say that he said anything, well, you can judge what you think he said would constitute racist or not. But the fact is, and this is not just a liberal bias, I've went to sources and I've looked at what white nationalist groups are saying on their websites. And they are recruiting at Trump rallies, and they're feeling very empowered by that. That's the reality you have to deal with. Now, the main reason I'm saying this is that white nationalists are taking on a new approach to things, where they're talking about being pro-European, European culture, our heritage. And they say things that I would agree. There's some white nationalists where they start off, and I'm going like, okay, I like that. If you look at my art, if you look at what I'm about, I'm totally into Western civilization, not in an ethnocentric way. I am a person that comes from Western civilization and ethnicity-wise. But then they take that luring in, and then they drop you into this other level, right? Now, I have an obsession with Norse mythology and Vikings. My mom's maiden name is Swedish, so I've got Swedish, Scottish, German, French, that kind of stuff in my heritage. Now this is a Thor's hammer, and here's why I'm actually just showing you this. This is Mjolnir. I wear this a lot. I find it, to be an interesting cultural, piece. But white supremacists are often wearing this, and they're into worshiping Thor and Odin. It's really wild. I might post you something later, like an article on this. And I've been in town at times and had somebody look at my Mjolnir, and I'll see a guy, and he's like, I like your necklace. And I'm just like, oh, kind of have a feeling, But I refuse to let somebody take a cultural, historical thing like the Mjolnir, the Thor's hammer, and then and make this be officially only something that a white supremacist would wear. or that the idea of being into Norse mythology or Germanic history or European culture now all of a sudden is only associated with white nationalism. I'm just not going to let that happen on my end, and So, but I wanted to make you aware of that. Okay, so just to kind of throw that out there, and anyways, I hope you have a good week, and let's be in touch. I took too long with this announcement already. Feel free always to contact me if you have any questions.